Hello YouTube, my name's Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and another episode of DNA Saturday, which is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in DNA bombs. That was the crate class we're going to be using throughout the entirety of this gameplay. If you guys would like, of course, you can go back and pause the video to get a good look at the class, but keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I will be talking about the class setup throughout this video because that's what we do here on DNA Saturday. We talk about class setups and the weapons and the maps and the kill streaks and all kinds of stuff. That's what we discuss here. And this one, there's going to be a lot of discussing because, as you can tell by the video length, it is a very long DNA bomb. If I had to estimate, this is probably the longest DNA bomb to actually be featured here on DNA Saturday. Like, one of the criteria, right, when I'm looking through submissions of DNA Saturday is I try to find shorter ones, like ones that are, you know, anywhere from 2 to 6 minutes. It's usually kind of like the sweet spot because sometimes if they go on really long, they have to talk for a very long time. Sometimes I end up getting off topic, and some people can actually get bored of it. And they're like, oh man, it's a really long DNA bomb. You know, I can't focus as much because it's like a 10-minute long DNA bomb where there's lots of little spurts where there was no actual action happening. But then there's other ones like this where it's very good. It's a very good DNA bomb. There's really not too many kind of lapses in action, but it just, he has to kind of wait around a little bit more as compared to if he was using a different gun because he has to be in lockdown mode because he's using the XMGs. It's a pretty interesting playstyle. We're going to be discussing that as well as the XMG further in this video, but before we get into that, I would like to go ahead and point out the fact that this particular DNA bomb has been brought to you by a guy that goes by the name of Hospital Madness, and you can find him, of course, by the first link down in the video description. You can also find him over at youtube.com/YTMadnessOfficial if you guys like to go ahead and check him out. But we'll talk about him in good time. We're going to talk about his channel and the things he's doing over there all in good time. Right now, let's go ahead and start talking about the XMGs. I think it's crazy that we have akimbo light machine guns. You know, I thought about this while putting together this video and just while like downloading the video and of course editing it together and just doing all the things I do here for DNA Saturday. I'm sitting there thinking, is this weird that we have akimbo light machine guns in the game? Because I hate to be like the old man of Call of Duty story, you know, I hate to bring those up, but I can remember jokingly talking to my friends about having silenced light machine guns. Like, I wish I could put a silencer on my M60. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Ha 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 ha, that's absurd. And now we have like literal light machine guns with silencers and grips and that thermal sights and ACOG sights, and I think we had ACOG and COD 4 regardless, but still lots of just weird things you can do. And now we have an akimbo only light machine gun, which is pretty nuts. And the playstyle that you have to implement while using this gun is a very I can't even think of the word, to be perfectly honest. Perhaps it is a deliberate playstyle. You have to really be thinking while you're playing with this weapon because you are not going to have any success with the XMGs. And believe me, because I've tried to do it, you're not going to have any success with this weapon while running around and trying to just casually hip fire them. You're actually going to need to be going into lockdown mode. So it's going to perform fundamentally like a completely different weapon compared to any other gun in the game. It's going to feel way different because you're going to go into an area and you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to go into lockdown mode and you're going to become like this turret, essentially. You're going to become this like mobile sentry gun and you're going to have to try and shoot people, which is really weird. I'll be perfectly honest. I won't even try to beat around the bush. It's not a playstyle I'm a fan of, but I enjoy watching it. When I try to play it, I don't know if I don't have the attention span or as I don't have the positioning skills, the map awareness or what, but whenever I use these things, I usually, you know, okay, this is a good spot. Let's go into lockdown mode. I'm going to take out all these people. Okay, where are the people? Oh, I got shot in the back while I'm in lockdown mode. Okay, then. And so it ends up happening a lot. So I haven't really used the XMGs a ton. The only time I really kind of like to use them, which once again is not very often, is if we have the enemy team in kind of a position where it's very easy to tell where they're coming from. Now, what I mean by that is if we're playing on Biolab, for example, and I could just, you know, go inside to where the tunnel is. I think you guys know where the tunnel is, towards the middle room. If I can just like pop in there and ADS in that tunnel with my lockdown mode and just kind of mow down anyone that walks in, that's really fun. But getting to that position is kind of annoying. Thinking of comeback, going inside the B flag, sit myself into a corner, going into lockdown mode with like flak jacket on, you know, and waiting for people to come through the door, that kind of stuff is fun. But when you're playing on maps and you're putting yourself in situations where it's a bit more difficult to kind of predict where they're going to be coming from, it's kind of hard. Right? It's kind of hard for me to get into that play style, which we'll be seeing it throughout the entirety of this gameplay. Just it's a very deliberate playstyle. He has to really be thinking about where he's going to be setting up. There's no real run and gun, but there's also at the same time no real camping because you're very limited in your mobility while using these weapons. So it's pretty interesting to see exactly how Hospital Madness here has played this particular match, and it's really enjoyable to watch. That's why I featured them. Like, this is actually a very interesting gameplay to watch and learn from, and because of that, I'm actually going to feature it. It's I believe almost a 10-minute long DNA bomb, or maybe it's actually like roughly 9 minutes or so, and I still want wanted to feature it, just because it's a very deliberate, very interesting way to play the game as compared to how I'm used to playing, which is like more of a run and gun, assault rifles and submachine gun style of play style, mostly with MP11. You guys know me, MP11, love it so much. Let's go ahead and talk about the Craig class, because it's a pretty interesting Craig class, but I will admit, I am gun shy to talk about the weapon variant here, because whenever I seem to have a perfect idea in my head, right? Whenever I'm like 100% sure that a particular variant of a weapon is the quote-unquote best variant, I always like, yes, this is probably the best variant of the gun that I've seen so far. People are like, oh, no, Nero, actually, you're kind of wrong on that. This is actually a better variant because of this reason. It's like, oh, I'm never right when it comes to this, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this looks like a freaking good variant if it's not the best variant. So it's the XMG Bacon and Eggs, and what you get with this particular variant of the weapon is +3 to damage, which is nuts, like the same thing that the MP11 Goliath gets, +3 damage, and the only penalty is you lose 3 accuracy, which is hilarious because you don't suffer that accuracy penalty with the XMGs while you're in lockdown mode. You'll notice there's no penalty whatsoever to his accuracy while in lockdown mode. They're just as accurate as they ever were. I believe the accuracy that you end up losing is actually when you're not in lockdown mode and you're just kind of running around with both weapons like ready to hip fire like he is right now. I think that's when you lose your accuracy. That's the only time you actually have the penalty. If you're in lockdown mode, you essentially have no penalty and you have a weapon that's going to give you +3 extra damage to an already ridiculously powerful light machine gun. Of course, you have all the downsides of, having a hip-fire only light machine gun. Regardless if you're in lockdown mode or not, you're still hip-firing. Of course, you're not going to have 110% precision accuracy, but still, you can do pretty good with it. So it's interesting to see this kind of a weapon variant, and it's interesting just to watch akimbo light machine gun gameplay. I'm also very interested to see in the future if we are going to be seeing an XMG single coming out the same way they brought back a single SAC-3 into the game via supply drops and advanced supply drops. So that would be pretty cool. Whereas before, the SAC-3s themselves was an akimbo only submachine gun, right? Just akimbo only. It's all you could ever do with it. And then later on, they said, well, you know what? We'll lose the left one. Now you only have the right one. We'll buff it up a little bit so it's a bit more powerful and viable on its own. And bam, it's like essentially having a brand new submachine gun in the game. And they could very easily, I feel, do the same thing with the XMG. It wouldn't take that much work for the developers at all. They're really kind of like, okay, so let's just erase that gun there from the left. Let's tighten up the accuracy on it here. It's basically just like retuning the weapon. I guess also giving it the ability to aim down sight, because if you actually look here at the bacon eggs, now I can't picture off the top of my head if the regular XMG also has this, but you look there, there's actual like red dot sights or optical sights built onto this weapon. Look there on top of each of his XMGs. There are actual reticle sights right there. There's actual optical sights for them to use. So you can't use them, of course, because it's akimbo, but they are there. So I'm thinking in the future, just as part of like a free DLC, something that's going to like randomly show up in supply drops, I think they might actually add a single XMG to the game, which would be like a whole new weapon for us to use. It'd be, of course, be a heavy weapon, which, let's be honest, is probably the least popular of the weapon tiers in Call of Duty. I think above all, assault rifles are probably the most popular. I think submachine guns are probably the second most popular. I think snipers would be the third most popular, and shotguns would probably be the fourth most if I had to take a guess. I know some people are really into sniping or really into one particular kind of weapon, but just the Call of Duty community in general, I think more people are around assault rifles than anything else. Probably submachine guns would be second, and heavy weapons, just because the fact that they slow you down a bit. I think a lot of people are kind of deterred from using them just for that very reason. They don't like being slow. They like having the big ammo, and all the damage and stuff, but they don't like having to move slow as compared to where everyone else is moving around really quickly. So I don't know. I think it'd be fun for them to add it, but I just wonder how much use it would actually get. I think it'd be the kind of thing we pick up the DNA bomb right there. I think it'd be the kind of thing where we would end up, basically running around with it a bunch when it first comes out, and then kind of getting tired of it and not using it much after that. But who knows? It could be something that comes to the game in the future. And let's go ahead and cover the perks here, because we haven't really done that yet in this video before the end of the gameplay, because we just picked up the DNA bomb. It's going off right there, and the gameplay is about over. So in terms of perks, the most basic perks you'll ever see. Low profile, perk 1, everyone uses it. Blind eye is perk 2, everyone uses it. And perk 3, pretty interesting but pretty good. Blast suppressor, which best perk in the game in my opinion, and scavenger. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're using an akimbo weapon, or if you're using the akimbo SAC-3s, if you're using the akimbo XMGs, if you're using the akimbo M1 irons, or any kind of akimbo pistol, maybe you're going for like a pistol only thing, you always want to have scavenger on there, because you're going to be going through a lot of ammo. Just a ton of ammo. There we go. A final score of 42 kills and 1 death, along with 3 captures and 2 defends. Ladies and gentlemen, the second XMG DNA Bomb to actually be featured here on my channel. And interestingly enough, they were both featured on the map Biolab. Completely different players, completely different gameplays, completely different setups and weapon variants and everything, but they both just happened to be XMG DNA Bombs on the map Biolab, which worked out pretty well. It was pretty interesting. And if I had to like pick maps that were, you know, more viable than other ones for the XMG, it'd probably be Biolab as one of the most viable maps to actually use that weapon on pretty effectively. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of DNA Saturday. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel it deserves. And if you guys would like to submit your DNA bombs for next week's episode of DNA Saturday, simply watch the video. It's on your screen right now. You can click the annotation to it or click the link to it at the very bottom of the video description. It will take you to a video that will teach you everything you would ever need to know about submitting your stuff for DNA Saturday. If you guys would like to go ahead and check out Mr. Hospital Madness, you can do so at youtube.com/YTMadnessOfficial. The YT obviously standing for YouTube. It's quite the long URL, but still, it's a nice URL. It's a URL that you will obviously remember, because I've had to type in YouTube several times today, and I've remembered it all off the top of my head the entire time. It's like YT Madness Official. Something about it just rings with me, at least, so it's something I can easily remember. Over there, he uploads 3 times a week, and the videos that he uploads are basically Call of Duty, and the kind of videos that he likes to actually upload is actually quite varied as compared to some of the other people you'll see here on DNA Saturday. So usually a lot of people you see on DNA Saturday, they just upload tons of great gameplay and tons of DNA bombs and stuff. He does that as well, but he also does entering Master Prestige videos. He sometimes does DNA bombs. He sometimes does live gameplay. Other times he just likes to do discussion videos, like why are people hating on Advanced Warfare? Or sometimes he likes to do story time, like he tells you stories about the time he almost died, which was kind of interesting. And he has over 800 subscribers at the time of this video going up. He's getting ever closer to 1,000, so go ahead and give him a look if you guys haven't already, because his YouTube channel has some interesting stuff on there. He's got a plan for his channel, 3 videos a week. He varies up the content that he posts, and he's got some great gameplay to back it up as well. So it's the kind of channel that you may be interested in, so be sure to go ahead and give him a look. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed this super long episode of DNA Saturday, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel it deserves. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.